Hi everyone, I am Sivakurma. Today we are going to learn about how the RESTful API and JWT both are working in terms of security as well as state management. First we understand the REST API. We know that the REST API is an interface used to communicate between server and client. That is, it is a standard. We are using the REST API as a standard by which the communication can be happen between the client and server. Implementing the standards means when the developer develops API and that is published, then they will also define what kind of request data they need and their types also they will mention. If the client sends in the same type of data and the type, then that request will be served. That is the standard the API REST API is implementing. So the request, we know that the request contains a URL and a HTTP method. It may be a head, get, post or put. So once the server receives the request, then it will find out an endpoint, and that endpoint will serve the request and send the response, and the response is also in the same in the data type that is mentioned in the document, so that the client can process the response further in the side. So this is the way the REST API is working for communication between client and the server. REST API means that is representational state transfer. So it defines a standard by which the server and clients means there may be thousands of clients, they are approaching the server. So every client will be served with the help of this REST API without any confusion. Okay, now the communication is okay. What about the security? Because if the communication is an insecure, the people can attack the server. We need to implement a security. For security, the JWT comes into our case. So what is JWT? JWT is a JSON web token. It contains a piece of information with a security that is encrypted. We can understand how this flow is happening in the client server communication with the JWT security. JWT is one of the securities implemented in the server client communication. There are some other security mechanisms also available. The JWT is a very simple, and the piece of information it is carrying is very light. So how these two are working for providing the security, we can see in the flow. First, the client send a signed request to the server. The signed request contains the login credentials, user ID and the password. Once the server receives this login and login credentials, user ID and the password, it verifies that information with the information it is already having. It may be in a file or database. If both are correct, then it will create a JWT token. The JWT token contains a security key that is encrypted. This JWT token will be sent along with the response to the client. The client receives a JWT and as well as the response. For the subsequent request, the client will send the JWT along with its request, so that the client doesn't have to provide login credential in every request. This is the way the security is implemented with the help of JWT. The security key is an encrypted one that can be passed by the secret key is stored in the server side. So the JWT token will be passed by the server and it will be verified with the secret key. This is the way communication can be secured with the help of JWT. At the same time, the JWT also provides a state management. What is the state management? We know that REST API is a stateless communication. Stateless means the REST API serves every request independently. That means it doesn't know anything about the services it has already serviced. It doesn't combine, it doesn't have any state of the previous request it has already served. So it cannot understand what is the previous request from this user and what is the current request from that user. Then how can we implement the purpose of the application? Because we know the state. In this case also, the JWT will come and helps to provide a state to the REST API. Another one method is a session management, a session holder. JWT and the session holder both are giving state to the REST API. We can see the difference between these two in one of our next videos. Now we can understand the JWT. Let us assume the user is sending a request to the server with the login details. Then the server accepts the login and it creates a JWT token and send the JWT token to the client. This is what we have already discussed in the first one. Now the JWT token not only contains secret key, it also contains the user ID. So the JWT contains user ID as well as the secret key. It will be sent to the browser, and now the user again sends the request to the server along with the JWT. Then the server will pass the JWT and find out the user ID. Well, let us understand with an example. In an e-commerce site, the user log into the e-commerce site with his login credential. Then he receives a JWT information that contains token and the user ID. Then he sends a request for his orders history. Now the server passes the user ID from the JWT and find out who is this user. Then it will serve the request, or it will send the response according to the request. This is the way the JWT provides the state to the API, server API. So, and now the server can understand where the request is coming by the state of the user ID. This can also be used for role level access. With the user ID, the server can identify which are the resources, services and routes the user is permitted to access. So by which we can also implement the role level access. This is the way the JWT is used for security as well as state management with the API for the communication between client and server. Thank you everyone. We will see in another one video.